Good morning, friends. Myself, Dr. Nidhi Darbari on My Education Treasure. In my previous video on lecturing as a method of teaching, I had described the meaning, nature, advantages and disadvantages and the teaching skills of lecturing method. Today, in my present video, I am going to discuss about the defects and precautions of lecturing method of teaching. When a teacher takes the help of a lengthy explanation in order to clarify his ideas or some facts, that explanation is termed as a lecture or lecture method. Actually, the lecture method is not a new method, but it is a traditional autocratic method. Some scholars feel that the lecture can be made lengthy or short as the situation is. Hence, the lecture is the easiest method of imparting knowledge to the pupils. Some experts don't agree with the views of different scholars. Its main reason is that neither the students of lower classes can be in an advantageous condition while using this method, nor this is effective in the case of pupils of higher classes. But a teacher makes use of it very conveniently, therefore this method is more popular as compared to the others. Remember that the lecture is one channel method. In this, presentation is more emphasized, but the students function as passive listeners. This creates dullness in the classroom as interaction between the students and the teacher ceases to occur. In other words, students get a few chance for responding as we use the lecture method. With this, the student gets no motivation for acquiring knowledge. Also, the teaching material gets more complicated and hence the pupils start feeling boredom. The lecture method can be used in the following three situations. To achieve the lowest objective of the cognitive aspect, to achieve the highest objective of the cognitive aspect, to achieve the effective objectives. Common defects of lecture method may be classified under two categories: those which relate to the nature of the lecture method and those which make communication ineffective. The defects falling under the first category are as under. In lecture method, the student's participation is the least. This often makes the teaching learning process dull and ineffective. Because of one-way communication, this method makes students mere passive listeners. It does not encourage students to become inquisitive and explorative. It makes them dependent upon the teacher and his notes. In other words, lecture doesn't develop students' capability of learning to learn. This method doesn't provide a mechanism for the teacher to obtain feedback from students on the effectiveness of his teaching. The defects of the lecture method falling in the second category are poor command over language, providing too many facts without linking them properly to a concept, generalization, theory, etc. Use of ambiguous words, poorly structured lecture, lack of logical and psychological sequence in the various parts of the lesson, use of monotonous voice during lecture, and distractive mannerism. For example, very frequent use of phrases like you see, or okay, or I mean, etc. distract the student's attention from the learning process. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it with others and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Precautions while using lecture method. The following precautions should be observed while using the lecture method. Lecture is an art and a continuous effort and is needed in order to gain success in it. The person delivering his lecture should know the subject fully. The content of the lecture should be organized systematically according to the interest and mental level of the pupils. Any easy language, meaningful and interesting illustration should be used in lecturing. Important points should be emphasized during lecturing. While lecturing, an effort should be made to avoid non-relevant references and to establish contact between one topic and the other. The lecture should be interesting. The book or the notes should not be used while delivering a lecture. An appropriate teaching material should be used while lecturing. The lecture should not be so lengthy and formal that the pupils start feeling boredom. The lecture should follow an interaction between the teacher and the students. The lecture should be delivered for the prescribed time. The lecture method should be accompanied by some other methods so that the students may follow the lecture properly. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe.